alternate future of the world series. And well, in the last episode, a war broke out with them expanding and then getting an alliance with China. So, as we can see, there's a bit of a downfall happening to India right now. And no, I'm not trying to erase the map. And well, they quickly move in on multiple fronts, continuing their advances rather slow, but nonetheless they're continuing them. And well, they continue. And well, the northern part of the nation holds strong, with the front in southern Central Asia Confederation, or Stanistan, because I like to make up that name, because I saw it in the video, I guess, maybe, who knows. And well, they continue, as the advance is heading towards as they advance a lot, and even start an advance into northern India. And well, an offensive is launched into Myanmar. And this offensive takes most of it over. By the end of this offensive, this is what the borders look like. But on the other front, an offensive was launched, which leads to the fall of Afghanistan. And they quickly advance down the coast to meet up there. Well, this is what the front line looks like. But quickly, these nations seeing an opportunity not seen, they hop into the war, seeing it as a good chance to gain land. And when they start, they launch a massive offensive, linking up with India's army and encircling some forces. And well, they start making offensives over here. Well, I need to fix that quickly. Well, quickly they launch an actual offensive, as they launch into Bulgaria, but Bulgaria manages to hold strong. But when they go into southern Russia, they cut off most of Azerbaijan and manage to capture it. And well, they move their offensives and even land in Crimea, with a breakthrough being made against the Bulgarian army, and they move up here. They even cross into the puppet of Romania, with their goal to link up and bring more. And while they move up with an offensive here, and they manage to take Rostov. And then they go across southern what would be Ukraine, because, well, Russia's an empire again. And they move up with this offensive, reaching to Kiev and even managing to capture it, which is a big shock. But Bulgaria manages to push them back a bit somehow, with a huge reorganization happening, with them withdrawing in a few areas, with them withdrawing in their North India front out of Afghanistan and up all the way out of most areas, with them backing up to here and trying to take the initiative to hold there. But the first thing they do is launch an offensive, with Russia cutting this area off quickly to make it only accessible through water. And well, this happened. While the Romanian puppet in Bulgaria managed to push it back. Same with Russia. As they start pushing in, manage to take Crimea over and encircle a big chunk of the army, quickly take it back. And at this point, they persuade this alliance between Cyprus. They didn't leave the alliance, apparently. Well, they also get East Africa to join, saying that this is their chance to get revenge on what happened to them, basically. As a few episodes ago, remember they were invaded? That could have been last episode. With them wondering what's about to happen, with Bulgarian and Russian forces and Czechoslovak forces managing to move in and capture Istanbul. And they also do this, capturing a big chunk of the coast. With these forces, with East Africa and Israel joining forces to invade, and the Horn of Africa nations decide to invade down here. Well, this led to a great opportunity for these forces to push them back out of this nation, out of their nation. And then they start an offensive into eastern Anatolia, with them capturing the here and then moving in and taking Ankara. The forces here move up and do this, with these forces meeting up and linking up with those forces to cut this off and teach them a lesson, basically. And these forces move into what would be Bangladesh and continue their front there, with forces moving in from here. With Iran being invaded here, quickly allowing the capture of Tehran, and then this connects. With them forcing Iran into capitulation and quickly moving forces in to launch an offensive here. But over here, they fail to capture it, with the full front being owned by the Arabia nation now. And quickly, they march into Riyadh, and they decide to surrender, hoping for a more mild peace treaty, with an offensive being launched over here and over here, with these forces eventually having to surrender, as there's no hope of them getting broke free, basically. Well, the capital of India falls, and they're having trouble on multiple fronts. Well, this offensive here manages to cut across, leading to a quick retreat to here, because, well, that was their only option, as encirclement was likely, and then they get pushed back down here. And their last area is forced into surrender. And, well, the government that's remaining decides to sign an alliance to protect other nations. And, well, a lot of the people aren't so popular with the idea of them basically protecting these European nations, Morocco, North Africa, these nations basically, and this nation joins, thinking it's a good opportunity, but this is not popular. So Brazil, Argentina, Peru, not Peru, maybe Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Chile, Central America, and Greenland decide to leave. So let's see the peace treaty back to what they were. Except this nation decides to create its own alliance. They join the war, I think, and back to having the Purple Alliance. And well, just because they shouldn't just get one puppet, considering how much they did, they can also have this as a puppet. And now with the, well, Chinese Empire decides to leave it too. With their puppets being 3 in Pakistan, they have one here. This is part of India. I don't know why I'd call it Bangladesh, Bhutan. Then we got Myanmar. That I'll call this North India or something. And they also get the Philippines, which the last nation, finally we'll see its color. And I decide this color is the best color for it. And then the other, fearing aggression of this Russian Empire, decides to join this alliance. But that's a final trigger with a bunch of nations leaving. From Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, a bunch leave. So now to fix it, to show how many leave. American Union with Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Bolivia, Paraguay, Colombia, Venezuela, Central America. We got California decides to leave, and we got Cascadia, and we got Quebec gone out of this union. We also got rid of Greenland from it. So this union is not doing well. But more nations decide to join it. Especially the southern India, which wasn't restricted for some reason. And well, this nation has, dominance over that region. And this nation is not, they're trying to keep their strength, but it doesn't look like they're going to be the competitors. With this nation deciding to join the Free Nations Pact, yes, well, why not? Because Quebec, France, makes sense. Well, that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment Wild Mapper out. And on to subscribe. Why should you subscribe? So we can get thousands of subscribers. That'd be great. Because I want to get to 4,000 subscribers. Bye, guys.